your successor actually brought the businesses to Virginia, yet Miss Abigail, or Queen Abigail, as Larry calls her, decides to take credit. So we are so honored to have the governor. I want Mike and Larry to say a couple of few words right before our governor comes and makes his appearance.
Folks, we know elections have consequences. 4 years ago, we elected Glenn Youngkin governor. We saw what a great thing he did for Virginia to make Virginia the best place to live, work, and raise your family. And now we've got to suffer Spanberger, but today we have the great governor back with us to celebrate, to get out the vote.
There's nothing like a disastrous governor to make him miss and recognize and appreciate how great Governor Youngkin is. He loves Virginia to his core. I got to see him at the governor's mansion in his final month in office, and you could tell what this Commonwealth means to him and his entire family. I am so grateful that he has not given up the fight, and he is still in the trenches with us. I hope one day that he appoints me as a wine ambassador to the Virginia wine country once again. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Woo! Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, can we just hear from Mike Chapman here just for a minute?
That's my sheriff.
You know, one of the things that I'm constantly reminded is that there are men and women who put on a bulletproof vest every day and go to work. And I got to be honest, if we are not thanking the Lord Almighty for them every day, we've missed something. So, Sheriff Chapman, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're in Virginia. There's an election going on. Listen, first of all, I just want to thank all of you for coming out today, because you all know that this is the most important election in the history of Virginia right now. And I know we say that all the time, but listen, right now we are going to the ballot in order to decide whether we're going to have fair representation or not. And when you think about the basic principles of this nation that were formed in the crucible of democracy in the Commonwealth of Virginia, at the core is that people will elect representatives in our government, and those representatives will be from somewhere close to where they live, as opposed to what we're seeing today, which is the most shocking, dishonest power grab that I think has ever been displayed in America. Now listen, you all did something now 5 years ago, which touched me and Suzanne and my family in a way that you can never possibly imagine. You trusted us to go work for all of you. And I want to thank you for giving me the great honor of serving as governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. But one of the things that I believed when we went in is we made promises to people. We made promises that we were going to go to work and stand for parents and students. We made promises that we were going to protect your money. We made promises that we were going to bring jobs. We made promises that we were going to stand with law enforcement and make Virginia safe. And we went to work, and I humbly say we delivered all of it and more. All of it and more. Promises made and promises kept is not just a tagline, because now we see a governor who made promises and isn't keeping them. And Virginians all know it, not just Republicans. All Virginians know. She promised that she would go to work on affordability, and then she immediately sticks us back into the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, and you're going to see $500 million on your electric bill. Yep. She promised that she would make Virginia safer, and on day one, she turned Virginia into a sanctuary state. On day one, and we have all seen the horrific crimes that have been committed. My God. Not just committed, but demonstrated that we cannot be a sanctuary state. Yeah. She promised us that she would bring us together and not divide us. And then all of a sudden, she becomes the most partisan politician in the land. And the creme de la creme, as she promised us when she said, I have no interest in redistricting. And then she turned around and is leading with the very first bill that she signed as governor, the most partisan, most horrific, most brazenly dishonest redistricting effort that anybody has ever seen. I use the word brazenly dishonest because that's what the Washington Post called it. The Washington Post called this effort by Abigail Spanberger and the progressive left the most brazenly dishonest campaign they have ever seen. And for the Washington Post to say that, that is an endorsement for the no vote, is what that is. An endorsement for the no vote. Now, all Virginians are seeing this. Because when someone sees the great bait and switch, everybody sees it, not just Republicans. And of course, last week, polls show that she is the least popular governor in modern day history in Virginia. The least popular. Even less popular than Ralph Northam. I mean, that
is a bar.
And just this week, a similar poll came out with the same numbers, and it suggested that she's the least popular governor in America. Now, why is that? Because Virginians don't want to be lied to. And they've been lied to. She said she had no interest in pursuing redistricting. And now she's standing out in front saying, vote yes for the most partisan maps in the country. And let me help you understand. 6 years ago, we all came to the polls and we voted for an independent redistricting commission to get politicians out of our maps, to make sure that Richmond wasn't putting its thumb on the scale, because we want fair maps. The map that's drawn, which by the way, I don't love, it's 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans, but the map that's drawn has been deemed one of, if not the fairest map in the nation. Why? Because it was done by an independent commission. And now, just 6 years later, they want to override the voice of Virginians and push us into what is now being called the most partisan, most gerrymandered map in America. Worse than Illinois, worse than California, the most gerrymandered. Have you seen this map? I mean, my gosh, you can drive 20 minutes in Northern Virginia and get to 5 congressional districts in 20 minutes. They have one district they literally have to call the lobster district. I can't think of the B-52s and rock lobster. Let's go rock this lobster and boil it up and get it out of here. But you have districts, literally, if you live in Hampton Roads, you're going to have a congressional representative who's from Northern Virginia. If you live on the West Virginia border, you're going to have a congressional representative who lives in Northern Virginia.